Welcome to Code with Miracle channel. Today we are going to learn Fibonacci series. You just need to remember first two terms of Fibonacci series. Fib of 0 is 0, Fib of 1 is 1. Then you might think, right, what is Fib of 2? It is the addition of two numbers before it. That is, say if you want to calculate Fib of 2. Fib of 2 would be the addition of last numbers, the last two series. That is Fib of 0 and 1. If we do fib of 0 and 1, then what the result would be. I hope you have guessed it. If you have guessed it, then please let me know in the comment section. Fib of 0 plus fib of 1, which should be the result 1. So similarly, fib of 3 would be, I hope you have guessed it, fib of 3. Here we need to mention fib of 0 plus 1. So it is 1. Fib of 3 would be fib of 1 and 2. So it would be fib of 1 is 1, fib of 2 is 1. So it would be 2. This is the result for fib of 3. This is how it works. Now let's move into the coding part. First we need to get the number of terms from the user. So I'm going to call it as terms. This is the variable name I'm going to use. Let's use number of terms so that it would make sense. So I'm going to add a number of terms. So number underscore of. Okay, then I'm going to use input built-in function. I'm going to use input built-in function here I'm going to print a message to the user, enter number of terms. Okay, so let's try to type enter number of terms. Okay, here if you already watched my video, then you will know that by default when you use input built-in function and receive input from the user, then that would be in string. You need to typecast it, so we also need to typecast here. So keep this in mind, like whenever you use input built-in function and you're receiving some input from the user, if it is a string, then no problem. If it is not a string, then please typecast it, then only your code will work. Okay, I have typecasted it to integer. Let me close the terminal so that we can see the screen. Okay, then I'm going to write code here. I'm going to call first comma second. That is, I want to store the first and second number of the Fibonacci series. The fib of 0 is 0, fib of 1 is 1. I'm going to call it as first comma second. Okay, first comma second would be 0 and 1. Let me try to type second. The value for this variable would be 0 comma 1. Okay, this is done. Now what we need to do is we need to write a if condition here. If n is equal to 0, say if user provided a number of terms as 0, on that case we should print 0 because fib of 0 is 0. Okay, let's try to type print. I'm going to use a variable first because it holds the value 0. So okay, this is done. Next I'm going to, if they provide greater than 0, on that case what we need to do, they can also provide lesser than 0. So I'm going to add or here. Let's consider that if they provide negative numbers, on that case um, let's try to print 0 for that case too. So I'm going to write a condition like this. Here it is not n, it is number of terms, so that's why it is blinking here. Let me try to, wait a second, let me try to, okay, let me try to type number of terms. Okay, so that this error will not happen. Here you can see it is saying n is not defined. That's why I got this yellow yellow symbol. If you see, you will see that yellow symbol is there. That's why I got that kind of warning, because n is not defined, then why you are using n. Now if I change that to number of terms, it looks good. Here you can see, so it is done. Then let's try to write else block. For else block, we need to write code if they provide a term which is greater than 0. I'm going to write a code. First, let's try to print if they provide greater than 0, then obviously we need to print the terms. So I'm going to type print. Here I'm going to use print. Here I'm going to use first and second. Let me try to use first comma second. Going to use second. Then I'm going to use end equal to a space. This I will explain you in the end of the video, so that it will make sense like why I used end here. Okay, let's try to use a for loop, because they might provide a number which we can't expect, like might be 3, 4, 5, or even greater than that. So we need to use a for loop here. I'm going to use for. Here I'm going to use underscore, because we are not going to use the variable that for loop provided. We just need to iterate. We are not going to use the variable that comes from the for loop. Okay, here I'm going to use range will start from 1, and it will end at n. Okay, then I'm going to write logic here. First I'm going to let's call it as last. Okay, I'm going to call it as last. I just want to name last equal to last. Instead of last, I think next would make sense. Let's try to uh, change it to next. Fib of 0 is 0, fib of 1 is 1, then fib of 2 would be the addition of last two numbers. So here we need to sum first and second. I'm going to use first, then second. I'm going to do addition, first plus second. I keep on forgetting here. Here I should not use n. Like when I talk about n, I always type n. Here we name that n as number of terms. So I need to update this. That's why it is showing again here. Let me try to quickly go to that particular place. Here I'm going to change it to number of terms. Okay, number of terms. Okay, this is done. We have successfully added these two numbers. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the first variable with the value. Here I'm going to use the value second. Then I'm going to change my second to the value of next. This is for the next iteration. Say you got fib of 2, which is fib of 0 plus fib of 1, which would be 1. The next time when you run this loop, you should have the value 1 in your first, and the value that is the value of fib of 1 should be on your first, and the value of fib of 2 should be on your second. That's why I'm trying to write the code here. Okay, then I'm going to print. I'm going to print second here. Okay, let's try to print second. we're almost close to complete this code. Let me try to run in terminal. Think typo error. Let me remove this O. That's it. Now let's try to run our. It is inside a Python underscore series. Let me try to get into Python series. Here I'm going to run my Fibonacci 5. Okay. Let me use tab to autocomplete. Here you can see it's asking for the series. And first let's try to give 0. If I give 0, it should give me 0. Working fine. Let's try to give 1. It should print 0 1. Working fine. Let's try to give 2. It should print 0 1 1. If I give 3, it should print 0 1 1 and 2. What if user provide a non-integer, say they provided w? In that case, it will throw an error. We should avoid this, right? So let's try to add a while loop here. I'm going to add a while loop so that it can act as a recursive one. Like if the user provide an invalid value, on that case it will ask again. I'm going to write while true. Okay, let's try to provide true. Let me try to cut down this. Sorry, let me try to type slowly because keyboard is not working fine. Okay, while true, let's add colon, and let's try to move this number of terms. We need to move this number of terms inside this while loop, then only it will ask for end time. Okay, let's try to move inside here. Okay, now say if they provide a valid value, on that case what we need to do is we need to break out of this loop. So I need to add break here. I'm going to add break. Okay, I have successfully added break here. Let me try to remove this. Sorry, okay. I'm going to, that's it. Let's try to run our code again. This time let's try to provide a space here so that when we try to when we try to do when we try to run our code, it would be easy for the user to visible. Instead of not giving space, then it will try to print the number directly here. This time let's try to provide a, it should ask me to input again. Okay, it is not asking, still we are getting error. It is because we have added inside while loop, but we didn't try to catch the error. We need to use try catch. Let's try to use try colon, then let's try to do this indentation. Then here I need to use except. Except is a keyword. Here I'm going to, for now I'm going to use a value error. I just want to skip the value error, and not, I don't want to exit the program if I got value error. When I will get value error, I will get value error only when if I provide an string as an input. So here I also need to have a print statement. This is just to inform user that you have provided an invalid input. That's why we are trying to ask again. Okay, I'm going to type invalid input. It's type. I don't want to run. Okay, let's try to type invalid space input. Invalid input. Invalid input. We also need to provide some additional information. please enter positive integer. Okay, let's try to type please enter positive integer. Okay, don't want this much v. Please enter positive integer. Okay, so that this message will get shown on the screen when a user provide an invalid data. Let's try to move this break inside try block so that when they provide valid input, they will it will come out of this while loop. Okay, let's try to run our code again. This time it should work fine. Let me go to my terminal. I'm going to run the code again, enter the number of series I'm going to type. It has first let's try to type string again. I'm going to this time r. Here you can see this time it's shown that invalid input, please enter positive integer. I'm going to give 1. If I give 1, it should print 0 1. Here you can see it is printing 0 1. Just working fine. Let me try to give 5. It is printing 0 1 1 2 3 5, but it is not printing on the same line. To print it on a same line like how we did to print a 0 1, what we need to do here is we need to add end end equal to end equal to I need to add end equal to space. So I need to add a space. Okay, I've added a space so that it will print in a same line, so that it would be little more readable. And at the end I need to add a new line, then only it will get terminated, or else the output will get collision. Let me try to show that to you. I'm going to open my terminal again. Here you can see if you don't provide a slash n, on that case it will show this miracle in same line itself. That's why I provided a new line character on a print statement. Let me try to run this again. Same also I'm going to give 5. This time it should print in a single line. Also you can see that it has given an empty line over here. Okay, this is what I want. We have successfully generated a Fibonacci series. Now we are going to generate sum of n numbers. For that I'm going to create another variable. I'm going to call that variable as let's call it as, okay, let's call it as result. I'm going to call it as result equal to 0. Okay, we have created a variable result equal to 0. What here we need to do is uh, we need to add we need to add the Fibonacci series so that we will get some sum of sum of numbers. So basically to get sum we need to add all the series value. So I'm going to use result plus equal to second. Let me try to run my code again. I'm going to run my code again. Let's try to run it. If I before that I need to print this result, right? I'm going to print here. Let's try to do after slash in. Okay, let's try to type result. Okay, result comma result. Okay, instead of result I feel that sum would make sense. Just let's try to type sum. Okay, to type sum of, okay, sum of what? Sum of Fibonacci series. Let me try to remove this double I. Fibonacci series. Okay, Fibonacci series. Successfully we have typed it. Here I made a mistake. I need to remove a B. Okay, let me try to run the code. I'm going to provide a 0. On the case sum of Fibonacci series is 0. Then let's try to provide a 1. Then Fibonacci series sum should be 1, but it is 0. So what we need to do is we need to have a result variable of start value as 1. Let's try to run again. I'm going to give 1. This time it will print 1. Okay, working fine. Let's try to give 2. Okay, sum of Fibonacci series 0 plus 1 plus 1 is 2, working fine. And also you should see this, like if you give a number of series 2, it will give 3 because fib of 0 is also included. That's why it is giving 3 values. Let me try to give 5 this time, and let's try to count. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 5 is 12. Here you can see it is showing 12, working fine. Thanks for watching.